everybody. My name is Ross. That is Lauren. This is our Thursday music discussion video. And this one is a topic that Lauren brought to the table, which I thought was great. And it's kind of, we have, at the time that this video will go up, we have over 900 videos on the channel. And I can't believe that I never thought to cover this topic. So I was super excited. I was like, oh, good one. Like,
Yay.
it's one of those things where I was kind of like, damn it, I wish I would have covered that. And then it's like, well, you know what? You'll do a great job. And if I ever want to, I can always come back and do, 5 more.
You sure could.
But tribute songs, for me, I'm pretty sure you're going to cover, no, you're not going to cover this one.
On purpose.
I think the first time that I ever realized I was listening to a tribute song was the original version of Candle in the Wind.
Okay.
And actually, I shouldn't even say original version. I should say the original lyrics, because years later he would change it to Diana instead of Marilyn Monroe. But the version that came out as a single off of the Melbourne, Australia show. Again, this is Grandpa's from a different time. This was before everyone just knew things like Marilyn Monroe's real name is Norma Jean, whatever. And I had recently heard that on like Entertainment Tonight or something.
Okay.
And then when I heard the song, and because it would have been totally lost on me, and I was just blown away by it. Like I like, and again, you're not talking about this one, so I'm not kind of spoiling anything, but just I really got like wow, if you are that if somebody is that influential on your life or whatever else, like you can really put it into words in a beautiful way. And that was, at least for me, that was the very first song that I realized. Now there were some well before that, actually one well before that by the same artist. And there have been many since. So I think it's a great topic for you to go into.
Awesome. I'm happy to go into it. The one I'm going to open up with is probably, it's not super duper well known, but I feel like it's important for its place.
Yeah,
with
I
this.
didn't know this one.
Yeah, it's a song called Abraham Martin and John, by Dion, but also it was also covered by Smokey Robinson and Marvin Gaye, and it charted in various places. And this is one of those tracks. It's essentially like Abraham Martin and John. So it's Abraham Lincoln, Martin Luther King, and JFK, where it's just kind of saying, man, we had so much to learn from these guys and we messed it up. What do we do, moving forward with it? And the fact that it was covered by like such a diverse like swath of people, I think they are important lyrics. Like I like the Dion version because I think it's musically very, very gentle for a subject matter that, is kind of important in that way. So I feel like if you start with that one, because it's the original recording of it. But
I didn't know the song until you brought it up for this. And as we're sitting here, I just realized, and this is very on the nose, and I'm not going to spoil what song it is yet, but this is a song on this list was done by Marvin Gaye, who has another song on your list that is a partial tribute to Marvin Gaye. So I think that's interesting that he had recorded a tribute song, but then he's also going to get covered in a different song. But it's a fantastic cut. And like you said, that's one of those things too, where like, even how I referenced, I always want to say Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, Candle in the Wind. To me, the way I've always felt about that song is like, we could learn a lot from how we treated her. And we still haven't, but in that time, that was my takeaway from it then was, boy, we should have treated this human being better and maybe not reduced her to headlines and whatnot, you know? And I feel like the same thing with this, like, yeah, we sure could have learned more.
Yep. And so similar, one of the same subject matter. Anyway, the next one on my list is Pride in the Name of Love by U2. It's another one of your Martin Luther King tribute tracks. And I feel like it, obviously coming from over a decade later in time than this song. Also, just from a completely different perspective as well, because these guys, U2, famously not American, okay?
Right.
But the fact that they could look at this man and what he did culturally in a country that is not their own and take something from it and put together one of the greatest songs in their entire catalog, I feel like it's super important.
I don't have too much to add on this particular song other than if you haven't heard it, I strongly recommend listening to the version from the Rattle and Hum album. In some way, it's funny because they are so tight live at the time that in some ways it's just like, oh well, that sounds very similar to the studio version, but there's just a little more energy in Bono's vocal
Sure.
on the version on Rattle and Hum, to where like if I have my way, that's always the version that I will listen
Mm.
to. The version on Unforgettable Fire is no slouch, but just if you're watching this and you're like, oh yeah, what a great tribute song, you know, and if you haven't heard the Rattle and Hum version, you should definitely go give it a listen, in my opinion. Now the next one is one of two songs about the same subject by the same band.
Yep. Man on the Moon by REM. And I could have gone with The Great
I
Beyond as
love
well.
the Great Beyond.
Great
but
Beyond's a great song. I went with Man on the Moon because it is a little bit more on the nose, I guess, because this is what they titled the movie.
Well, it's so funny to me because I talked about this in a video we did recently about singles from 1990 and how John Bon Jovi had been asked to do Wanted Dead or Alive
Mm-hmm.
and wrote Blaze of Glory instead. And it's so funny to me that they did this song as a tribute to Andy that got so well known that it became the title of the movie. And then they were like, okay, but we're going to write a different song,
Uh-huh.
which I would say is equally as good.
Yep.
I like The Great Beyond better than Man on the Moon. But even if you're a staunch Man on the Moon person, you have to love both songs.
I think, yeah, it's very true. And they both deserve a mention on here. I just think, Man on the Moon, for me, I think, like, they had no reason.
Mhm.
Andy Kaufman never, like, super front of mind.
Yeah.
But the fact that they did
Yeah.
this,
This is one of those examples of this song made me go back and learn all about him.
Same.
Yeah.
Same. So like by the time the movie came out, I knew who Andy Kaufman was because of this
Mhm.
song. So like I was equipped, I was ready to roll. And I just love it too. Just the childhood whimsy in this song,
Mhm.
really, like that's exactly.
Well, and I would argue, especially in the last verse too, the desperation of, and it really brings it in stark contrast in the film. But in the song, at least, he gets across the whole like, people getting exasperated with like what's real, what's not. You know, the whole. For me, that's how I always took that last line that says, "Are we losing touch?" You know, like do you even know what's real?
Mhm.
Anyway, because a lot of people thought that about Kaufman. Like at one point, he didn't even know what was a joke and what wasn't anymore. You know.
Mhm.
The next one that you have on the list is the one I referenced earlier, where we were talking about Marvin Gaye had covered a song that was a tribute to someone else. And this one is a tribute song that was written in part to Marvin Gaye and some other folks that were lost in for over the years with from the Motown sound.
Yeah. So the song "Night Shift" by the Commodores, and full disclosure, this song was nowhere in my orbit until you entered my orbit.
Yeah, I played it for you.
And I was like, "Oh man!" And now I feel like I hear it everywhere all the
I
time.
know
we just heard it in.
we were just
like,
in the grocery store the other day and it was on.
was like-
and because there's things where, and if you're a music lover, then you know this, where you feel like everyone knows this thing, and then you're like, but it's everywhere, and other people are like, you were like,
I was like-
you're like, I've never even heard this song. And then I would argue that ever since I played it for you, it's like when you buy a car
and you
see
mhm.
everybody else like I would argue that song was around as much before, you just never noticed it.
That's probably very, very
Yeah.
true. Yeah, and I just think this is such a cool tribute to like the people and the genre that were very formative
Mhm.
for them, right? And I just feel like I also need to add that like really, really recently, Bruce Springsteen did a really cool cover
Mhm.
of this, which I was unexpected when I was kind of putting this whole list together. I'm listening through all this stuff and I'm on YouTube and I was like, Bruce did that song, and then I went over to the video for it and I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
okay, Bruce.
I'll need to check that out.
Yeah.
I saw that as part of your notes and I haven't checked it out yet, but I want to. I wouldn't see why he wouldn't do a great job.
It was super respectful, you
Yeah.
know, in
It's
a
such a great
yeah.
song. And I don't have the dates in front of me right now, but I remember as a little kid that Jackie Wilson had passed, I believe, in the late 70s. But Marvin had passed recently when the
Mhm.
song came out. Like it was a very big shock to the community, especially being a Detroiter. Marvin Gaye was one of those guys that you just thought was always going to be around.
Mm.
And then the issue with the domestic violence and so on. And it just, I remember it being reported in Detroit, like near like the president had been shot and killed, you know, I mean, it
Yeah.
was a big deal. And then for that song to come out, and it was so like, and I thought when you told me you'd never heard it, I thought, oh, well, maybe this was just a huge thing in Detroit because of Marvin. But then no, when you hear it at the Winn Dixie in
Jacksonville,
It's not just a
oh, yeah.
Detroit thing. Yeah. Now the last one is by an artist that I mentioned to kick off the video. And I don't think this is one, I don't think I knew of this song till you played this for me.
That's where, yeah, that's fair. This is Empty Garden by Elton John. This is 1982. So this is kind of like
A couple
he
years
was,
after John passed. Yeah. About a year and a half.
yeah, he was, and as far as Elton's career goes, right, he was out of his 70s heyday, but he hadn't had his 80s resurgence yet.
Right,
So I
right.
get this is kind of like
the
a
sad songs had not said so much.
no, well,
just
yeah,
yet.
exactly, not just yet. But I love this song as a tribute song to John Lennon for a couple of reasons, right? Because they were very famously friends.
Mhm.
So this was not even just like I'm gonna write a tribute song to somebody that influenced me, right?
Right.
This is I'm gonna put something together for my friend, and the fact that Bernie Taupin was able to translate Elton's feelings about losing his friend in a way that Elton felt comfortable
Yeah.
putting music to and singing and putting out there in the world. I just think it's a really interesting exercise in the teamwork of grief, I guess,
Yeah.
to put this together that way.
Yeah.
And I love the analogy of like he never comes out and says in the song like this song is about this song is about John Lennon. He never says that. It's like this city lost a gardener and now we need to take care of the flowers.
Right.
And I just think that's a really cool way to put that.
Yeah. And when I mentioned the timeline earlier too, when you said it came out in 82, you know, John had passed in December of 1980. And I just like that it wasn't, you know, like by March of 81, here's this, you know, here's the song. Like it's like this is a genuine friend grieving the loss. And like you said, who knows, it probably took quite a while for the two of them to go back and forth on you know, here's what I'm feeling and here's what I want to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you like at the beginning of the video, I would assume most people who click on this video are going to expect that Candle in the Wind would have been on the list. So if you came into the video expecting that, like for me personally, if I had clicked on this video, I would have expected that.
Yeah.
So if you come away from the video having learned about Empty Garden like I did, then I think that's a success for everyone. So like I'd said earlier too, I feel like there's a ton of tribute songs out there, some very well known, some not very well known. There's even ones that for artists who have the artists themselves were not very well known, but the tribute songs made them more well known. And I can think of at least 4 or 5 like those. So drop the comments and let us know what you think of our picks and some of your favorite tribute songs. I will most likely do a just because I'm mad I didn't come up with it, I will probably do a follow-up video to this eventually. But if you would please do that. You hear it in every video, but a like on the video absolutely does help. So please do that if you get a second. It's free and it helps us out. That is Lauren. My name is Russ. And as we always say, thank you so much for watching.